Hey everyone. Um, Thank you so much for watching the first three episodes of how I got diagnosed with breast cancer. I really appreciate all of your comments, your feedback, your words of encouragement. Today's episode, I want to talk about my oncology appointments and then ultimately the treatment plan that was recommended. Once I learned that I had triple negative breast cancer, it was determined that I would not go the surgery first route. I would need to meet with an oncologist first. I was scheduled with an oncologist within the same hospital network as the breast surgeon that I'd met with. And the initial oncologist that I was scheduled to meet, when I looked him up and read his reviews, I did not like what I read. People had commented that he was in a hurry, that he didn't answer questions, that he didn't seem to care. I knew off the bat that wasn't going to work for me. I reached out to my patient navigator and said, I need a different oncologist. I'm not feeling the warm and fuzzies with this dude. She was able to contact a leading oncologist within that same practice who had very good reviews and get me on her calendar. I wanted to, just like with a surgeon, I wanted to know, would this oncologist see herself in me? Would she be invested in saving me? I wanted to know how much she knew about triple negative, how much she knew about the latest research, how much information did she have on cure rates. When I got into the appointment with the oncologist, the first thing that we did was talk about triple negative and my receptors and what that actually meant from a treatment perspective. She explained that because I was triple negative, the preferred approach was to do chemo first to attempt to shrink and completely kill off the tumor before going into surgery. One of the first questions I asked was, how do people respond? What is the average response rate for triple negative patients receiving chemotherapy? And she said that 65% of patients responded to chemo. That's like a D, a F. That's not a good, that was not what I wanted to hear. She didn't give me the impression that we were going to attack this and kill it. The second thing that I asked was how many of her patients were triple negative, and she quoted national statistics. She did not give me her patient load. It was 10 to 15%. I asked how many of those patients were African American. She said a high number, or it affects African American women disproportionately, but she couldn't give me a number. I needed an oncologist who'd been through this, who was confident in it, and who had experience giving individualized care. I didn't leave with the confidence that she could cure me. And I mean, clearly, the end goal here is cure and survival. The chemotherapy regimen that was recommended included immunotherapy as well as four different chemotherapy drugs. we had a family member who had survived breast cancer who also works in the medical field, and we asked if they had an opinion or colleagues who could recommend a second opinion. And I ultimately was able to schedule an appointment with that medical group. Going into that appointment, I had researched several of the oncologists, and I found one in particular who had a review written about her by someone who said that she had cured their breast cancer. They had very similar markers to me, including one very specific marker called a Ki-67. I go in and I meet this other oncologist, and it was great. When I asked this oncologist, how many of your patients have triple negative breast cancer, she told me that 30 to 40% of her patients had triple negative breast cancer. When I asked her how many of those patients were African American, she was able to tell me that upwards of 50% of her actual patients, her African American patients, were triple negative. She was extremely positive and energetic. And what she said to me was, your cancer isn't less curable, it's just a slightly longer path to the cure. That made me feel great. We talked about what the actual chemotherapy regimen would be, and it was the exact same regimen that the first doctor had recommended. However, the separator for me was that at this particular medical practice, instead of handing me a stack of papers to go home and read and digest on my own, they scheduled an appointment with a pharmacist. And that pharmacist actually walked me through each of the drugs as well as the potential side effects, what I could expect, not only what I could expect, but when I might expect to see those things. It left me feeling much better about the whole process. When we left that appointment, I reached out to a friend who lived near that hospital and asked if she had any experience with that hospital and with good or bad. And she let me know that one of her aunts had been treated for cancer at that cancer center, which also gave me another layer of comfort. So when I left that appointment, my husband and I talked, and we knew immediately, almost immediately, that we were going to switch to this new doctor. So this is what I want to leave you with here. Go with your gut and how you feel. The oncologists, the surgeons, the people that you choose, they are working for you. They need to do the job that you have hired them for. And I was hiring someone to save my life, and I needed to know with full confidence that they felt like they could do it and that they wanted to. The second thing is, do your research. One of the things that I really liked about the second oncologist is when she talked to me about her reason for taking this particular approach of chemo first over surgery, she actually shared a research paper with me. There are a couple of things that we'll go into. One is genetic testing, a PET scan, what happened with my suspicious looking lymph nodes, and then actually starting chemo and what that has been like. So, all right, thanks for tuning in today. If you like this video, click the like button and don't forget to subscribe.